What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into a fresh week of Bulls coverage from us here at CHGO Bulls, coming to you live from our studios in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Pack Bulls _ Big Day, BAM, BAWL Sports. Will the GOAT Gottlieb, Will _ Gottlieb, our pal producer on the controls is the one and only Joyce Bathis at Joyce Bathis.
One and only.
Today's show is going to be a doozy, y'all.
A doozy.
We got some news. Mm-hmm. Reported by none other than our very own Will the GOAT Gottlieb. We will get to what's in that report, what it means, and how we feel about it later on today's show. Real quick plug. We told you last week. We'll tell you again. Less than a week. A week from Wednesday. Sorry.
Yeah, a week from Wednesday.
Week math is hard.
Yeah, it is.
NBA Draft Round 1, Wednesday, June 26th. We will be doing a live show from PB&J here in the West Loop of Chicago. Wonderful vibes. It'll be presented by our friends at Coors Light. Great Coors Light deals all night long. Come hang out. There's no ticket or admission fee to get in. Just come in, take advantage of the great deals, the delicious pizza, and vibe with your fellow Bulls fans and see what happens with the Bulls with their first round pick.
Yeah, Matt and I will be there. Come hang out with us. Will be there too. Come talk to us, man. Come laugh with us. Come cry with us. Come drink some beers with us. All that shit. Like, we're there for all of it.
Joey will also be there.
Oh, your people's producer.
Will Baby Joey be there?
Oh, Baby Joey's there, but he's not there. He's everywhere but nowhere.
Okay.
That's it. That's Baby Joey's MO.
And it's a live show throughout the first round, so we'll be breaking down picks. We'll be talking about trades. We'll be, figuring out what the Bulls are going to do, reacting to whatever it is that they do. Maybe it's a trade. Maybe it's moving up in the draft, down in the draft, making a trade for one of their players. Mm-hmm. We'll be breaking it all down, so we'll have plenty to talk about.
And Troll Joe might be there too.
Ooh.
Might.
Teasing a Troll Joe appearance?
Might.
I've been waiting years.
And also shout out to the Burke brothers. They're back in effect today. Shout out to them as well.
It is hot.
It's hot.
It is hot.
It's hot.
Shout out to the fans.
Before we dive into this crazy report and I tear my hair out, let's have a quick moment of hopefully happiness. Did everybody have a nice weekend?
I did.
Yeah?
I told you, man, I was doing great.
I was doing great until I read a certain column this morning.
Until that column smacked me across the face, and it changed my whole mood. I now have a headache. Oh, God. Oh, God. But, yes, my weekend
was good.
My weekend was really, really good, man. Like, honestly, it was really good. I had a great one. You?
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I had a great weekend, too. I spent a lot of time working on this article. I really wanted to make sure that it was fair and it came off correctly while also reporting the news. I hope I accomplished that. So we'll have a lot to talk about today.
Hey, Larry said he's draft ticket confirmed. Coming down.
Let's go, Strick.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Come on through.
It's going to be a fun time.
Come on, hang out with us, man. Be just like Strick. Come hang out with us, man. GR, where you at? I know you ain't here, GR. Gary Ross. You come hang out too, sir.
Oh, yeah.
I know you ain't here. Come on through. Come on through, man. Look at throw all the hats. Come on, man.
Patience, young squire. Oh, it's coming. Woo, doggy. Okay, well, I'm glad we all had a good weekend. Let's dive in. Mm-hmm. So, Will the GOAT Gottlieb dropped a column this morning about the, let's say, uncertain future of Alex Caruso, who has entering the final year of his Bulls contract, is extension eligible. And in that column, you talked about some of the figures of that potential extension. And you also dropped just a few details of how and why it is to be that Alex Caruso is still here.
Skosh.
Yeah, basically what I wanted to do was write about the situation that the Bulls find themselves in with Caruso. He is entering the final year of his contract. He's going to be making $9.9 million, and that is a bargain deal. And it's a deal that teams have been really interested in over the past couple of years. And And now the Bulls are at a point where they're kind of facing the same situation that they faced with DeRozan last summer, which is, do we extend him and try to keep him? Do we trade him and try to move forward without him? I think the difference is, whereas DeRozan and Vooch before him and maybe even Levine before that weren't going to have really robust markets on the free agent market if they got there.
True.
That is probably not going to be the case with Caruso. I think a lot of teams are going to be interested in Caruso's services if he gets to free agency. And so the Bulls don't want to do that. They want to try to lock him up in an extension before that, or should they look to trade him? And if they do look to trade him, here are some deals that they have declined in the past, the reasons why they have maybe declined those deals, and how does that really inform what deals they could look to make before the end of the offseason.
Yeah. So about that last part and deals that they have declined and why.
About last night.
If you haven't had a chance to read Goat's column yet because you've had a busy Monday, no worries. We got you. Here is an excerpt on that column. The Bulls took calls on Caruso but never made them. According to a source with knowledge of the situation, the Bulls received offers from multiple teams consisting of multiple protected first-round picks ahead of the 2024 trade deadline. One of those deals included a pick that ended up in the top 10 of the 2024 draft, the source said. The Golden State Warriors were among teams who made a strong offer for Caruso, multiple sources confirmed. Internally, the Bulls' party line was that they would have to start searching for a Caruso replacement from the moment they traded him. They may have been fine. That may have been fine in a rebuild, which lead executive AK admitted ownership supported. However, the source indicated that there was a mandate from the Reinsdorfs to fight for the playoffs. That no doubt impacted the front office's decision making when it came to pulling the trigger on any Caruso deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. I guess we can maybe start with the second part.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's how it should be.
My hat bucket.
That's how it should be.
That was the most hats you've ever thrown at one time.
That was symbolically accurate.
Give him more.
Sorry,
Go ahead,
Will, you were saying?
Yeah, go ahead, Will.
I mean, I was just going to say, like, some of these deals obviously sound great. It was protected picks from they had multiple different options, and this is coming from, like, over the past year. So, prior to last trade deadline, obviously, even into last offseason. And so they had opportunities to trade him, but I thought what was actually most interesting about this, and one of those picks obviously ended up being a top 10 pick. That would have been great value. I think any of these deals would have been. But I thought what was interesting about this was that, and obviously this goes against what AK said at his press conference, and it goes against actually what some of my colleagues have reported at various times over the last year, which is that ownership did support a rebuild. Based on my reporting, and I'm going off of that, that is not the case. There was a mandate from ownership to continue to push for the playoffs, and obviously that's going to impact what decisions AK makes with his valuable assets, right? Sure. If you are a team that doesn't want to go into the luxury tax and you are, under pressure by ownership to make the playoffs, it becomes very difficult to trade your second best player for draft capital. I think that's just the reality of the situation. And so now, like I said, they are faced with more of a serious situation where they have to actually consider some of those offers or extend him. And I wonder if those same offers are going to be available now that he only has 1 year left on his deal as compared to two. When he has one playoff run left on his contract as compared to two, which is what he had at the trade deadline.
I don't even know where to begin with stupid shit like this. I think I'll start with AK. You know what? I kind of honestly want to leave ownership to this man right here because I just want him to burn it and then me sit back and laugh at the fire. But shit like that, when you say, okay, we want you to make the playoffs. All right, that's your mandate. First of all, you failed. Let's start there. You did not do that. You failed. You failed at what you really were told to do, was make the playoffs. You didn't do it, if that's the mandate. Secondly, when you pass on, when I see shit, when you're receiving offers from multiple teams consisting of multiple protected first-round picks, for that is egregious and incompetent and malpractice. That is ridiculous because trading, as I said 1,000 fucking times, sitting in this chair, it doesn't. If you want to go to the playoffs, you are a playing team. We know who the Bulls were. We looked at them. We know it. We were like, this is a playing team. We get it. If you keep Alex Caruso, you're still a 9 seed. You let him go, you're 10. You're still a play-in team. It does not change who you are. Keeping him, if you say DeMar DeRozan, yes, that changes things. That's your best player. Even Zach LaVine might change things because that's one of your best players who also you had no problem wanting to trade and get rid of. If you're talking about making the playoffs, let me get Zach LaVine up out of here. And no issue with that shit. No, Alex Caruso is the one that's propelling me to the 6th seed while I'm passing on multiple first-round picks for a role player. Malpractice, egregious and unacceptable. I would walk you out of the office immediately. I don't care if I told you my mandate is I want you to make the playoffs. Oh, get it. Fine. Make the playoffs. It's the East. Wonderful. Because obviously that means make the play-in. You're still going to get that opportunity when you're going to be a 10 seed. You'll still have that chance to do that. Because, again, nobody underneath you wanted to go to the goddamn play-in. Nobody wanted else to go. Oh, my God. This is what's so maddening about it and why fans were like, well, dude, you said you wanted to go to the playoffs. Well, then you weren't listening to me because I told you a million times you can still do that and not have Alex Caruso. You can still make the play-in and still get what happened to you without him there. You just set up better for your future because you have first-round picks on your team. It's dumbass shit, and it's unacceptable, man. That's malpractice, bro. Like, you don't know what you're doing. I shouldn't be around and hearing shit from people who don't get paid to make those decisions, who are making better decisions. You get 6 figures for this, and you do nothing. Even if you're saying, man, let's make the playoffs, you did nothing. You say, let me go get Javonte Green. What? That's propelling us to the 6th seed? You did absolutely nothing. And that's what pisses me off more than anything, bro. You stood pat, and you wasn't cool with, oh God, it's fucking stupid. It's stupid. Give me a hat. Give me a hat.
I'm so happy. For this brief moment in time, I'm happy because that brought me so much joy, Dave.
It's stuck. Matt, incompetence and miscommunication drive me crazy.
Yes, I do.
That is incompetent as fuck.
Maneater Park says, Big Dave being mad feels like when the cool teacher loses their shit in class. And I completely agree.
That's what it is. Look at what they did. Did you read these wonderful words that this man wrote? Did you see this shit? How you cool with that? Who's okay with that on a role player? Who's cool with that? And you can love Alex Caruso all you want. He is a role player. There's a reason the Lakers said it's okay. I'm not saying he ain't cold. I ain't saying he ain't good because he's all of those things. But you got a team offer you multiple picks for that? Deal! Every day!
Before Matt goes, I do want to push back on that last piece because, and I wrote this too, like, I don't think Alex Caruso is a role player. I think that does not capture what he does for this team. And I wrote it, like, he does for the defense of this team what DeMar DeRozan does for the offense. I really think he has that caliber of impact on the defensive side. You may think defense isn't as important as offense. That's maybe true. But still, for a team that wants to be competitive, like, to get rid of your defensive anchor, I get it. But Caruso, according to Stefan No's projection model, which he actually updated today, is worth, I think it was, let me see if I can find it. According to, like, based on the amount of minutes he played, the games he played, and his production, he was worth $28 million this year. So that's like an all-star caliber player. So I do think it's fair for the Bulls to ask for a lot. Obviously, they got offered a lot and they turned that down. But, protected picks, I understand if that was the mandate. Now, we can disagree with the mandate, but I understand why they would be hesitant to do that, and maybe we can talk more about that after the break.
Yes, plenty more to get to in this conversation. People in the comments sounding off. We'll get to as many of y'all's thoughts and comments about this as we can. Keep them coming. This is a fascinating topic, and Bulls fans are obviously feeling a lot of feels about it, but everybody very much appreciated that rant from Big Dave.
I definitely did.
As did I. Somebody said, damn, I think it was Sports Chicago Style, said, damn, cover Baby Joey's ears.
Stupid.
No worries. Baby Joey's heard a thing or two in his life already.
Whew.
More to come after we tell you about.
I'm so upset. Yo, I'm sorry.
No, you're good, buddy. You're good. I mean, maybe you need a little Coors Light right now. Could you?
You know what? If anybody needs to find their chill right now, I think it's going to be me.
Yeah.
I think I got to find my chill, man.
Find your chill and hit that like button for Dave.
And the place to do it at is Coors Light, because between work, social media, and the choices life throws your way, it's no wonder you can get a little bit more worked up. But Coors Light, thank you, Coors Light, celebrates rising above and choosing a chill mindset. Why not turn that rained out barbecue into the 112th annual Will Gottlieb karaoke party? Or, after a tough loss, settle some scores with an ice-cold peace offering, 1 or 12 of them. Make sure you choose chill. Then reach for Coors Light and some of that mountain cold refreshment, because when the mountains turn blue, you know exactly what to do. It's as cold as the Colorado Rockies. Coors Light is cold lager, cold filter, and cold package for a smoother finish. And when you embrace that chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment, crisp and refreshing as them Colorado Rockies. Make the most out of your time. Make sure you choose chill. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door via Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO basketball. That's CoorsLight.com/CHGO basketball. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Woo! If
15 of them.
If you want to maybe try and find some chill vibes in a different way, there's always Sunnyside.
Oh, thank you.
Maybe that'll help. I feel like Dave needs to swing by Sunnyside on his way home from work today.
Might be right.
Our friends at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary are here to help elevate your summer. Sunnyside is home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. They have a crazy selection with over 100 different strains, indicas, hybrids, sativas to choose from, with easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Stop in the store nearest you throughout Illinois and the Chicagoland area for expert guidance from their staff, or select from quality lines like Cresco or FloraCal. Head to Sunnyside.shop. Use that promo code HICHGO. Hi, CHGO.
Hello.
At checkout for 35% off your favorite brands like Cresco, FloraCal. Good news. Try those brunch gummies. They are delicious and perfect to elevate your summer and to elevate that first purchase. Again, that promo code is HICHGO for 35% off. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 and over, or Illinois Med card holders.
All right, and Will, to your point about Alex, again, we know his impact. We know how great he is. You'll never hear me talking down or
100%.
dismissing any of that. I get that. For me, he knows his role, and he plays it very, very, very well, and especially on a good team. When you're on a good team, he is perfect. That's why they brought him in here, because they knew exactly where they needed him and where they want him to be. And he's coming off the bench. That's where the impact, for me, is more largely felt throughout his career. More largely felt coming in off the bench. Yes, he can sub in as a starter. Yes, he can play 3, maybe 4 positions on the floor. But you know his impact is coming in and just being that Tasmanian devil and making sure everybody got where they got to go on the floor. For me, that's a role. You know what I'm saying? That is a role, and a good one that he's at, and why he's got the contract that he does. Now, that contract's going to be way higher, you know what I'm saying, like you mentioned, for Stephen No. But the reason it's where it was because that was what you were paying those role players, was that kind of salary. It's why the Lakers didn't want to pay him, even though he was deserving of it, but it's why they didn't want to pay him that money. But now he's earned it, they won't have no choice. But the Bulls to not recognize that kind of shit is egregious to me when I see it, and you don't get him out of here and bring in something that can help you in the long run, man. That's what anger is for me.
No, and I understand that. I think kind of and again, I'm not saying that you don't recognize how good Alex Caruso is. I just think that
so stupid.
From the Bulls' perspective,
yes.
And this is me speculating and guessing here, like
please.
They clearly feel that his value is greater than those picks, maybe even independent of the situation.
Sure.
But then when you put on top of that the situation where you do have to try to compete, I think it justifies. I don't think it's a good justification, but I think it at least makes sense. Whereas when we talked to AK coming out of the trade deadline, he kept on saying, like, we want it to be competitive. Like, that doesn't make any sense. How do you reason with that?
No.
When you are the 9th seed or whatever they were at that time,
yeah,
however many games out of the 6th seed, and you just are saying you want to be competitive. That doesn't make sense. But now for this to come out and say, well, they wanted to be competitive because they were being forced to be competitive, that helps explain, I think, why they didn't make any moves. Now, the question is, and I couldn't nail down like hard reporting on this, so I don't know. Mm-hmm. But the question is, does that mandate still exist? Does that still apply to where they go this upcoming season? And if so,
I'd
then
wager a guess.
I would find it hard to believe that they're going to trade Caruso. And if it's not the case, then I think they do have to start thinking about trading him a little bit more seriously.
Yeah.
Julia in the comments said, Dave needs a hug, sending a virtual one. Thanks,
Appreciate
Julia. Charlie in the comments saying,
Appreciate
going back to just how you define Caruso, is he a role player? Is he more than that? How much value is there that we're talking about the Bulls turning down multiple firsts for him? Charlie in the comments saying, arguably the top 2 or 3 best players in the world are below average defenders in Luka and Joker. Offense, way more important. I'd trade AC all day, every day, and twice on Sunday for multiple first-round picks.
See, I hate when I see stuff like that, like Brian saying, I don't know how good he is. Oh, I fucking know how good Alex Caruso is, dog. I know how amazing he is. I think the people who are overvaluing it are the people who are making these decisions in the front office. Because you have to see that and understand when you have to move certain pieces and get off of certain guys. Knowing a feel of your team and having your finger on the pulse is something I've said a lot, and something I've said I don't think they have is like a pulse, a finger on the pulse of the squad. And they told me that, AK told me that when he didn't even know how fucking far out they were in the playoffs when he came out and talked about it. That lets me know you don't know what's going on.
Only 3 games back, Dave.
Oh, that's it.
Only 3 games back.
And you're on the 9th seed. But if you're thinking and you're telling me keeping Alex Caruso means you elevate from 9 to 6, no, come on. What are we doing? What are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? No, I got to keep that, bro. Got to keep that. That'll elevate us to get us up here. And I'm going to turn down these, multiple traffics for my man, Alex Caruso. Man, shout out Alex Caruso, who is getting all this love, and deservedly so for him, because he's an amazing basketball player. But
consecutive all defensive team selections, Hustle Player of the Year award. Everyone in the league wants this guy.
Everybody.
And that
is reflected in the trade.
As you say, Dave, he is fancy rims on a car without an engine.
Just some amazing rims, dog.
Why are you holding on to that?
But your car don't run.
Nugsy Bogues one in the comments saying AK doesn't have to do his job well, just what he's told to do. I think it was Adrian in the comments earlier bringing up the stadium being full talking point. And look, that's why, and Dave, you and I have had this debate before.
Sure.
Who gets the most blame for when things go poorly? And this is a very, centrally focused example of Bulls fans being frustrated with ownership / management about a decision they made and when we learned about it.
Sure.
You often take the side of, well, ownership is who they are, and we always have known how ownership functions.
They're idiots.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the executives making basketball decisions you should be more mad at, because they are the ones.
My angle of truth.
That your angle, right? Is they are the ones failing in those jobs.
And again, they're terrible ownership, and they're horrible. Don't ever want to dismiss this. All right, but I always leave that to you because yes.
Right. Well, and so to me, that's the point. If this mandate is in fact contradictory to what AK told the media and Bulls fans by proxy himself when Will, I believe you clarified when you asked him on trade deadline day, if you thought a rebuild and selling off some pieces right now was the best direction for your franchise, would ownership support you in that? And he said yes. This sounds like the opposite of that. So either AK was lying for ownership or somewhere that mandate changed, like you were just suggesting, Will.
Yeah.
As a lifelong and often cynical Bulls fan, I think that mandate has always been there. Keep the stadium full with a team that is just close enough to competitive that the stadium is full. Bulls led the league in attendance again this season. Top 5 in merch sales this season. More of the same for Bulls fans who love their team. And if ownership said, don't blow this up yet, keep fighting, try to get to the playoffs, and AK felt like he had to do that, then it is just the latest in billions of examples of Bulls fans having to hear or listen to a piece of news that verifies and confirms what we have always known, is that this ownership group does not give a single flying fuck about competing for championships. So the mandates that they put down to their front office as far as mid-season decisions that need to be made are about, as our friend Darnell said with us the other day when he was talking about his column, the bottom line. And what is the bottom line? It's staying under the luxury tax and making as much money as you can. It's never about making the best decisions for the present and future of your team actually being competitive in the real big boy way, not the fake, hey, we went to the play-in 2 years in a row way. That is why I will always blame ownership first, because now we are hearing very conflicting reports, or not conflicting reports, but a report that directly conflicts what AK said at the deadline, which is, if I thought a rebuild was the way to go, ownership supports that. Nope, sorry. Just kidding. Actually, what they said was, don't do anything that would cost our chances at making the playoffs. It's bullshit.
No, yes. And that verbiage is different for me, Matt. If ownership said, don't blow this up, we want to make the playoffs, then yes, me and you, I will buy you the fucking pitchforks. And I will buy you the torches and light them myself and hand them to you, and we'll go burn it down. If that's what was said, that's great. But what Will had reported was it was the mandate to make the playoffs. For me, that's why I got so mad in that first segment, because you could still do that and make this trade, which falls on AK, which falls on the person in charge of actually making that decision. Again, if they're telling me, dude, no, keep it as is, don't do nothing. Yes, buy me one of these shirts. Like, let's tear it to the ground. All right, great, I'm with that. But dang, like when you're just telling me to do that, knowing I'm in the East and I can still do that without having AC there, but still actually make my team even better looking, that's great. And also, it doesn't look great for you because this is your job, you know? Because at the end of the day, Matt, if you don't do what ownership asks you to do, you have still failed. And guess what? Going around the league, looking at you think they looking at your resume and being like, well, no, you know, ownership's just bad. No, you didn't make the playoffs. No, you wouldn't make these trades. No, you couldn't do this, and this. No, I don't want you doing nothing on my team. Absolutely not. Your resume looks ass. And that's what they're going to look at, is that bottom line of it, because that's what ownership is, right? Bottom lines. That's what they look at. Matt's right. They want the money. They want to sell out. People there. Yes, you want all that stuff too. But when you don't do what the bottom line, what they told you to do, guess what? It's still on you. It's never on them. It's going to still be on you. So get some damn balls, man, and do these things and make these decisions that you know will help this team. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, and I think, like, you know, teams, I think, can run into situations where if their GM or lead executive is like making decisions in order to fight for their job, that's when teams get themselves in trouble. And to me, that's kind of what it feels like the situation is. If they're, and I'm not like saying AK is necessarily on the hot seat, but I do feel like there's probably, and again, speculation here, I do feel like from him, there's probably a sentiment of like, I've got to make ownership happy by making the playoffs here. So I can't give up any asset that would take away from my ability to do that. So to me, it's just a situation where the constraints that ownership is putting them through make it difficult for him to do that job. And I'm not saying that there aren't still ways out, because I think there probably were, but I think that's the challenge for AK. And like I said, I'm not sure if that mandate still persists. I have no idea, but going off of history, like that seems to be a very important thing for the Bulls. And you know, it makes making any decision very difficult. And so when you look at it through that lens, it helps explain to me why they haven't done anything for so many years, because any move would either take away from their chances to be in the play-in or in the playoffs, or it would put them into the luxury tax. And if you can't do either of those things, what can you do other than stay put?
And again, as Sylvie always said, it starts at the top. Everything that when you're looking at bad, well, I tell you, when people lose, I blame everyone. Everybody gets a piece. But it all starts at the top. There are organizational failures, and it starts at the tippy top. And that is the truth. Yes, you can win with shitty owners. I've made that a million times. Absolutely right. But when it's all going bad, that's when you see that shittiness shine bright in these kind of situations, man. So, yes, it definitely starts at the top. No question.
And that top, Anthony in the comments saying, and we're always told Jerry wasn't involved. Bullshit. The dude is the worst owner in two different professional leagues. That's the other thing that we hear oftentimes, especially in the last, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 years window of like, hey, Grandpa Jerry's getting kind of up there. He's passed most of the duties down to Michael. And, they hired people and they're letting AK run AK stuff. So, yeah, it's on AK, which maybe would also feed into your argument of like, hey, actually, maybe the Bulls just ownership hired these guys and are leaving them alone to run the team. So how mad can you be at ownership, really, if they just hired them and are ignoring them?
Very.
But maybe some people still are skeptical enough to not believe that, of course, at the end of every big decision, there is someone at the very top with the final say in stuff like this. Sports Chicago's down in the comments saying Drummond could have brought some sort of return, but alas, he's walking and we get nada. Cowley did have a little tidbit about Drummond in his latest today, saying he's looking for a new team. And that's just more of the same. Let's take our second break. We will come back and continue diving into this conversation, and we can even also touch a bit more on that giant contract question that you posed in your column as well, Will. Throw us anything else on your mind while we're doing that, Bulls Nation. We will get to as many of your comments as we can. Throw us a super chat if you feel so inclined. Hit that like button if you didn't do it the first time around. Big Dave.
You know what? This is a great example of why you guys should be a diehard. Just sitting there watching this kind of thing and understanding the golden pen of the GOAT over here when he puts it down and writes something like this. But you can also check out that big draft by Big Board that he's got only for the diehards. You guys will be smarter fans following guys like this right here and the other awesome writers we have for every single team we cover at CHGO. Of course, podcasts and live shows every day. Of course, you get the post-game shows. But like I just told you, that premium written content for all the members at allchgo.com. 20% off your events. If they're having an event and it's going to cost you, 20% off is what you're going to get just for being a diehard, man. That is awesome. Dope merch. That's what you get for sure. Like this thing right here that Will's got on, pretty dope. And guess what? That could be your free shirt. Because you become a member, you get a free shirt of your choice. And, of course, that members-only Discord, the CHGO Lounge, which I'm sure will be on fire sitting here talking about the Chicago Bulls. And since we're talking diehards, come hang out with us, like Matt said, at our draft party. June 26th is going down, baby. Live. Matt Peck, Big Dave, Will Gottlieb. We'll be covering that draft live from PB&J. It is free. You hear what I said? Free. Just RSVP, and it is free to come hang out and yell and laugh and drink and toast with us. And, of course, the people's producer, Joey Spathis, will be in the house, man. Become a diehard today.
Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Circa Sportsbook. We do still have another NBA Finals game.
Yeah.
Tonight, Game 5.
You're right.
Let's go. Basketball's not dead yet.
No.
I love it. And so should you, because it means more opportunities to have fun, putting some bets down, and putting money in your pocket with that Circa Sportsbook app. Offering tight money line splits in their low hold model, always striving to have starting odds of -110 on these NBA Finals game spreads, point total over-unders, and all that jazz. Unlike a lot of other sports books these days who push those starting odds to -115 or -120 for no reason at all. Circa also keeps as little money as possible on large market bets like futures, golf tournaments. We had the U.S. Open this past weekend. We still got more golf action coming up this summer, especially compared to other sports books whose odds and value winnings on those large market bets are not as good as they are at Circa's, who also offer, of course, the very best in customer service. Real people behind that Circa Sports brand who resolve any issues you might have in a timely fashion, unlike those other books who use the dreaded chatbots. Down with the machines. All aspects of the app are being run by the same team that run that main Circa Sportsbook at Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. Total winner. Download the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Be on the lookout also for Circa's events, watch parties, and tailgates around the Chicagoland area, including every Friday Cubs 120 Club with our CHGO Cubs crew, hanging out at Murphy's before the game, hanging out in the bleachers, hanging out at Almost Home after the game.
Yeah.
Go hang out with our CHGO Cubs crew and the wonderful people at Circa.
Gotta get goat out there.
Hey, if you or someone you know may have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. Text GAMB to 833-234 or visit areyourreallywinning.com. Speaking of which, did you guys see that our pal Cody got a home run ball that dropped in the basket on Friday?
I did see that, man.
But it was a home run ball hit by a Cardinals player?
Yes, it was.
Poor bastard.
Yeah, did he throw it back? I didn't see one.
I would assume so.
He did. Okay, all right.
Oh, Joey, you were out at Friday 120 Club. How was it, bud?
It was a good time. Cubs played horrendous, and so that made it less fun, but it was a good time to be out there. I sat with me and my guy, Luke Stuckmeyer.
Stucky!
One-on-one in the bleachers. It was a good time. And, yeah, like I said, horrendous game. I think the Cubs had 2 or 3 hits in the whole game. But, yeah, Cody caught the ball or landed in the basket in front of him. I wanted to video him throwing it back, but the crowd, was like, throw it back.
Yeah,
and so he kind of panicked and threw it back pretty quickly.
Peer pressure.
But it was a good throw, and it was always fun with the Friday 120 Club.
I've never caught any ball ever, as many games I went to. So the protocol for throwing it back, is there a time limit on throwing it back?
It's usually pretty soon. I mean, like before the next batter is coming up.
Before
Right,
While
yeah.
he's rounding the bases, I feel
You're not, it's not like you're throwing it back in the middle of the game. Like, hey, this was from a couple innings ago.
But you do want to give the crowd in the bleachers a few seconds to start the chant.
Yeah, the crowd was
You
starting
got to
with
crescendo the throw it back chant and then
throw it back, and then Cody threw it back.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
okay, I got it.
The guy was probably in between second and third.
All right. Have you caught a foul ball before? Or any ball?
Not like a true foul ball. Like, I've been on the field before when there were some like team activities going on, batting practice, and like
Flex.
I haven't
That is a
caught a ball that has come in the stands like that.
Okay. You?
I went to a Cubs game when I was a kid once, and I went there early for batting practice, and I like chased down a home run ball, but I've never caught one.
Oh, so we got to see the goat galloping out there showing the skills?
When I was a kid, yeah, for sure. For sure.
That's awesome. You got one?
I've never caught a foul ball ever. But
you
I
gotta
will
understand.
say that Joey, Stucky, Cody, Braggs, that whole crew holding down the bleachers, Friday 120 Club, couldn't get the W. I went to the Saturday Cubs game with my brother and a couple of our friends. Shout out Curry for the tickets. Incredible seats.
Flex.
We brought home the W.
Talk to him, man.
So,
Talk to him, man.
Quickly before we continue with the Caruso, I did go when I was younger in the summer, probably around this time, to Miller Park, as it was formerly called, in Milwaukee with George and Lisa. And I remember a foul ball literally straight off George's hands, like straight off his hands. And I was probably 6 years old. I'm like, are you kidding me? Catch the ball.
You being a jerk to your dad at 6.
Ridiculously upset. I'm like, catch the ball. What are you doing? Right off his hands. Are you, what?
No, give me the keys. I'm driving
It
home.
was right to you.
I mean, Joey might still be just young enough that he could be the benefactor of an adult catching a foul ball in Joey's
shot.
vicinity.
That's not
That
even
is a
funny,
great
dude.
and then just handing it to Joey.
I said
That
it's
is a
stuck in. If I
Good
caught the
point.
ball, there was a kid in front of us, I would have given it to the kid.
Okay.
Because now the joy is just catching it. It's just catching it. I caught it. I have the memory of catching it. Give it to the kid. Continue with the
in my
ball
head
stock. Here we
now,
go.
like 6-year-old Joey went and sat at like the head of the table. Like, you don't sit here no more, sir. George. Big piece of chicken right here for young Joey
I'll
Stathis.
cut the turkey.
That's right. You set the table.
Can I just say real quick before we get back into Caruso?
Yeah.
Oh, guys, 225 people watching, 47 likes.
Oh, come on.
Oh, come on.
Hit the likes.
Come on.
Give us some thumbs.
Goat is
likes
giving
up.
you all this wonderfulness out here.
Yeah.
Please, likes
Speaking
is
of
all we
which,
ask, baby. Hit the
Trick
like
Daddy
button.
Dexter64 in the comments said, just came over from Twitter, knew it was bad, but rejecting a top 10 pick is terrible. Reinsdorfs are awful. Don't buy tickets if you're in Chicago. Shout out to the GOAT for the great reporting.
Amazing report.
Shout out to you.
Shout out to you.
Shout out to you.
Also, shout out to Flex Days in the comments who said, Caruso is a crash test dummy for a team that can't make the playoffs. Get something for him before he is broken into 1,000 pieces and you get nothing.
That scares me.
That. And I mean, Will, you kind of touched on that in your column as well, talking about the kind of player Caruso is and this daunting extension that lies ahead of him and the Bulls this summer. If they do want to try to lock him down as a piece that they just cannot afford to lose, and like money be damned, how are we going to figure out how to sign Caruso to a new multi-year deal and stay under the tax? But that other part of it, which is, do you really want to sign this guy to that much more guaranteed money, that many more guaranteed years, when you're coming off of 2 years in a row, knock on wood, where he played consecutive season high or career high in games played? Did it last season, did it this season?
Yes.
What's the likelihood that that continues for a guy Caruso's age?
I mean, that's the question they have to be facing right now, which is if you are betting on Caruso to continue playing at his level through his age 31, 2, 3, and 4 season, then maybe you do feel comfortable offering that 4-year extension worth almost $79 million, which is the max extension he can sign starting on July 6th. If you aren't comfortable with offering him that, then you run the risk of him getting to free agency. And once he gets there, like I said at the top, other teams are going to be interested. This is not a scenario where, like DeRozan, like Vucevic, like Levine, you can just outbid a marketplace that doesn't exist to keep your guy. There will be people out there trying to sign Caruso, and they may even be willing to exceed what the Bulls can offer in an extension. So if you're Caruso and you may have a chance to make more money and play for a contender, why would you sign this extension? And so if you cannot get Caruso to sign this extension now, at risk of maybe losing him for nothing as a free agent, you've got to consider seriously trading him. I don't think the Bulls have seriously considered actually giving Caruso away to this point. But like this is, we do this every year where we talk about DeRozan's free agency. Should we sign and trade him or bring him back or let him walk for nothing? We did this with Zach LaVine. Should we give him the max extension or should we just give him the best possible offer that nobody else is willing to match or exceed? Should we give Vooch $20 million a year or should we just give him $1 more than the next highest bidder? Like they run into this problem year after year with their best players, and it's like watching the exact same movie happen again in slow motion this time because you know this is happening with Caruso. And so to me, I don't know if I would be willing to sign him to that kind of extension. I think he's worth it. Like I said, this upcoming year, his like projected value based on Steph's model is $28 million. So that's like $10 million more than where his extension will start. But you're talking about paying this guy who already is very injury prone, who plays like a madman Tasmanian devil into his mid-30s. Like that's a scary proposition.
Yes.
And unless you are really confident that one, he's going to continue to play at this level, and two, you're going to be able to trade him down the line for as much as you could get for him now, then you really do have to start considering that trade. And to me, that was like kind of the whole point of this. And so, okay, if you do reframe this around, maybe now's the time they finally start thinking about trading this guy. What can they get for him? Well, look what they've turned down in the past. It's got to be at least that, if not more. But the question is, can they still get that same offer when he's only got, one playoff run left on his contract before you have to be the team that now pays him? And that is where they have gone wrong with DeRozan, where they didn't trade him 2 deadlines ago. Same thing with Levine, same thing with Vucevic. When you continue to let your assets turn into liabilities and then you double down on those liabilities by extending them at above market value, that's where you run into the situation where you are up against the tax, where you can't make tough decisions because there's no financial flexibility to do so. And that is the lesson that the Bulls should be learning from their previous mistakes. They can't let it happen with Caruso because he actually could get them real value. Vooch, last trade deadline, I don't know if you really get much for him. DeMar, last trade deadline, probably could have gotten something, but they probably missed on opportunities to get something for him at last deadline if there was interest.
Sure.
Same with Zach. But Caruso legitimately had interest. He legitimately could have gotten them a lot. And so to pass up on that and then also to make the bad money decision that exposes yourself to serious downside, I think that would be like really, truly a disaster. Like I've said before, I'm trying to stay optimistic with this because I think if they make some of these tough calls right now, they can position themselves into better positions longer term. But this is the one where if they continue to reinvest in this core by doubling down on Caruso, giving him that max extension, or letting him walk for nothing in free agency, that is where you running into like rock bottom, skies falling, Chicken Little scenario.
Oh, the bars. Oh, GOAT, yes. Just had to let that breathe for a second. Because I was just over here, man. I like how Julia said Matt and Dave look so defeated.
You know what? It's because I damn near am. I am.
Go ahead,
God, it's not surprising, right?
No.
I read this column from the GOAT this morning. I couldn't wait. He was like, teased it a little bit, like 5 minutes before it drops. And I was like, ooh, what do we got?
Yeah.
And I read it, and I was immediately furious and also just so deflated and not surprised. Because it went along with everything I've always believed as a Bulls fan about how this team operates and how the people who own this team operate. Because it's not about winning. It's never about winning with them.
No.
They love to remind us all when it was about winning. Sure. And not because of anything they did, because they got lucky and found a guy named Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Thank you, Mike.
And then listened to Jerry Krause when Jerry Krause said, I want to promote Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
Those two things.
Yeah.
6 championships in 8 years, those two things. Everything since has been, hey, remember when we won a lot and that was fun? Hey, thanks for continuing to pack this stadium and buy all of our shit while we provide you with mediocre season after not quite mediocre season after maybe a little bit more mediocre season again. And then what are we doing? Toiling around it like this team's record since the dynasty ended is somewhere well below 500 in the 900 and something wins to the 1100 and something losses. 5 playoff series wins? 5. In 25 years since the dynasty ended. So when I read something like GOAT's reporting from this morning, I immediately get mad and then I immediately get cynical and defeated because I know that we will continue to read and hear reports just like this one until the sun burns up unless someone else owns this team that gives a shit about winning. And that's why it's immediately maddening and you feel so goddamn helpless. Other than that, thank you, Jay.
That was perfect.
Impromptu hat toss.
Oh, and then you hit Jay.
It's the same shit in different wrapping paper every time. And what can we do? And of course, there is the one answer. What can we do? Don't show up. Don't buy their shit. That is the only option we have. And that sucks because we like to support our team.
Yeah.
But this is bullshit.
Toss it.
Sell the goddamn team, Jerry. Sell the goddamn team, Jerry.
It's bullshit.
Sell. Can you read? Can you read? Sell the team. I'm sick of this shit.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Hey, that worried me a little because I didn't know it. I forgot it was a shirt underneath that. I was like, wait a minute, yo.
He's just getting naked.
He's getting naked right now.
Like Ricky Bobby having his panic attack.
Oh, yeah, right. Just taking a, save me, Tom Cruise. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is how we all feel right now. It's so maddening, man. I was so upset because Matt's right. And Matt loves being right. But damn it, I know he don't want to be this right. No, because of what we're seeing right here. He don't want to be this right about it. To be like, yeah, my team is a complete joke. He don't want to feel like that. But damn, when they put you in this kind of position to do these kind of things, and just something simple as not doing anything as far as trading a player on your squad because you think that keeps you in a position to do something good when we all knew that it wasn't. I remember that graph that came out. I don't know if you saw it, but it showed the fluctuation of all the NBA teams in each conference of how they kind of fluctuated through the season. Do you remember looking at how the Bulls one was? It just looked like a flat line. That's it. It didn't flow. It was like, and then it would dip, dip, and then just keep going, and then maybe down a little bit, and then but keep going. It was the exact same. Nothing changed. How can we sit there and watch it game after game, and everybody look, and you know what you are, and we see what you are, but you're like, you know what? No, it's not that. We need to hold on to that and continue with this. I think that's what's maddening and what's frustrating, becomes malpractice to me when you turn down these kind of deals on the player like this, where you're going to have to make a decision on, as Will just broke down, you're going to have to make that decision on him sometime soon. And that decision is he's going to get paid. He's going to get his money. And the Bulls are not going to give him that. We all know this. He's not going to get that check, but he's going to get it from somewhere else. So what do? You say, hey, thank you for what you've done, but we have an opportunity to get a little bit better. Not even tons better. We're not even talking about just like, oh, man, we're about to get light years better because of this. You know what? This will help us in the long run. And as quick as next year, this could help you as quickly as that. And you still said, we got it. We good. You know, just wait. How about you watch it first and then you judge me by what we saw out there? Remember that line? Remember that line right there? I do. I remember that bullshit.
Torrey Craig.
And all we saw was that. All we saw was Shackton moments and injuries happen to players like that coming in off your bench. And now you're still conflicted. And as Will keeps pointing out, you're in a position where now you're being forced to do something because you have to do it. You don't want to stay in that tech, and you're not going to pay it. We all know that. So now what do you want to do? And now we're looking at you like, and then now teams know you're in that position. You know how I looked at this when you were writing this and I'm reading it? I looked at it like teams were offering the Bulls stuff, and they're like, Bulls are pretty shrewd. You know what I mean? You know what? Let's up that a little bit. How about multiple picks? You know what I'm saying? Multiple first-round picks. That'll get it. That's a shrewd move, Bulls. We like that. You held out, and now here you go. Still, I'll stay. I suggest you hit, sir. Oh, that's so dumb.
And that's OKC calls, and they're like, we'll give you all of our first-round picks and SGA for Alex Caruso. No,
we'll stay. We like our chances right here. We can make the playoffs with this.
And look, I mean, that's obvious hyperbole, and we're just having fun.
Sure.
But again, when you think back to the actual reported offers, it is insane to not take those offers.
Yeah.
When you contemplate all of the context of where the Bulls are as a team in the NBA competitive or not landscape, and the specifics of Alex Caruso, the player, what he has provided for you thus far, what he might provide you if you keep him, or what he might provide you if you trade him. Turning down those offers for him is wild mismanagement.
It's dumb.
So to me, like I've kind of been saying, it was very much the opposite. Like, obviously, seeing the kind of offers that they could have gotten for Caruso, like, I would have taken any of those. I would have been very happy with that kind of return. But that's also assuming that my ideal direction for this team, which was down, was on the table, and it wasn't. So to me, I feel like, again, I'm not agreeing with this justification, but just thinking, like, when I think about the Bulls, when I think about, you know, trading certain players, letting guys walk in free agency, what do they do with DeMar? How do they manage the Zach trade landscape? It's all within the context of, if I was the GM of this team and I had control over basketball operations, how would I get this team to a point where they were competing at a high level, not just like trying to make the play?
Sure.
Right? But when the idea of going down or taking that pathway out of the equation, like, I do. And look, I'm not saying Arturas is perfect. I'm not saying that he hasn't also passed on opportunities to get better that could have helped this team get to the playoffs, whatever it may be. But when that option is removed from you, I can understand why it becomes more difficult to make trades. Now, again, I'm not saying that that's a good reason. I disagree with that reason. And I feel like if you are going to own a sports team, why not try to figure out the best way to get this team to compete. So I'm not like saying that I agree with the reasoning, but from a front office perspective, I understand why that would be difficult. I still probably would have done it and found another way to do it, but it also helps explain why they didn't trade Drummond for 2 second-round picks, which was what was reported, because they weren't going to have a backup center, and you probably need a backup center if you're going to try to make the plan.
Yeah, sure.
It also helps explain why they might be ready to offer DeMar DeRozan. People have speculated $40 million. His max extension for this year and next year is $40 million this year and $43 million next year, $47 million in year 3. My guess is, again, this is a guess, speculation, not reporting, that the Bulls are trying to offer him a max extension over 2 years, not over 3. And so when you think about it through that perspective of we have to still try to compete, then it makes sense why they would want to retain DeRozan. The issue with that is they're in a situation now where that's going to either cost them picks in order to get off of Zach LaVine in order to do that, or they're just simply not going to be able to do that because it prevents them from going to the tax. So what I find interesting about this offseason, regardless of the Caruso trades that they passed up at the deadline, regardless of whether or not they trade him now, is they are basically in a situation where they're having to decide between staying competitive and making the playoffs or going in the luxury tax. But you can't have it both ways. So that is where the rubber meets the road. I think that is where, to me, it's like that's like the most challenging thing that AK has to manage now when you consider ownership's wants and constraints, and when you consider how you actually want to be competitive. Like, I imagine Arturas probably held on to his assets too long, and let some guys bleed in value. I think he probably waited too long before he realized that he probably needed to make some changes. But I can't imagine that he's still, after missing the playoffs twice in a row, after seeing like Kobe get better, DeMar play as great as he did last year, Caruso play a career high in games played, and you still miss the playoffs. Like, I can't imagine he genuinely thinks that sticking with it is still the way to go. Even if you get Lonzo back, even if you get Zach back, I can't imagine that is really the way he wants to go. But with the constraints of ownership, maybe he feels forced to go that way. And to me, that's the scary part. When you have a GM who has those kind of limitations and is making moves for his job, that is a scary situation to be in. And I do think that at a certain point, it's going to come to head. I personally feel like it's this summer, although there are ways that they can kick the can down the road. But I also thought it was last summer, and I thought it was a trade deadline before that. So,
okay. Do I think he's handcuffed? Yes. Even when you bring up guys like Drummond and making a trade for him, I see the logic of why you wouldn't do it. Like you said, they don't have a backup center. You want to make a run, you're going to need an Andre backup center. Would I trade him? Absolutely. But your next option was Sanogo. Fine. I get it. DeMar DeRozan, your best player, immediately hurts your chances from moving forward or doing anything in the playoffs. Would I trade him? Yes. I'm different. But I get it. That makes sense. I can't see that logic when talking about Caruso. I see it where he hurts the defense. Again, yes, the anchor on the defensive end, all of that of how amazing of a basketball player he is. But the two players I mentioned were not getting these offers.
No.
You still, for me, if you still are the team you want to be, which is a team that's a play-in team, even without Alex Caruso out there on the floor with you, you still that. You might move to 10. That's it. You're going to move to 10. All right, fine. You're a 10 seed in the play-in. But you're still that. You're still competing. And you're still playing those players because you've got a log jam at that position at guard anyway. You put them dudes out there and let them play against, and throw it against the wall, see how it works and how it sticks. That's where the logic leaves for me, is when it comes talking about this. Because I can't fathom it logically why you would pass on that when it's not just going to be damning to your playoff run like that. I said damning, like destroying and taking it like you're out of the running. You're out of the running if you lose DeMar DeRozan. You're out. You're done.
I suppose if the Bulls trade away Caruso, they're their defensive rating that finished 21st in the NBA this season could have plummeted even further, and maybe you win a bit fewer of those close games with one or two fewer defensive stops provided by Alex Caruso.
Sure,
but yeah, I mean,
again,
that's just a simple, quick devil's advocate. But I think for the most part,
I do think like, and again, I'm playing devil's advocate here, but like, let's say that. So let's say that the Bulls obviously agree with you that Caruso is super impactful, right? Let's say that they really do view it as though they would be removing the same caliber of impact as if they had removed DeMar.
Okay, fair. Let's do that. Go ahead.
So the Bulls, I believe, I'm just recalling a stat that Ricky O'Donnell had a couple of weeks ago, which was that before Patrick Williams got hurt, the Bulls were 14th in defense, and after they were like 26th, they finished 21. Mm-hmm. So around the trade deadline, they were top half in defense. So they couldn't have known when these trade offers were coming in at the trade deadline that the defense would have fallen off the way that it did. Mm-hmm. So let's say that at the trade deadline where Kobe is playing much better, they're playing better without Zach LaVine. I think they did have a winning record between Zach LaVine's first injury and when the trade deadline happened. Just trying to think about it from their perspective here. If you take Caruso out of that situation and you feel like that's going to tank your defense from 14 down to 30th or 25th, and whatever you get back in return for him is not going to help replace some of that, then I do see why they would be hesitant and reluctant to do that. One of the things I heard was that immediately after trading Caruso, they felt like they were going to have to start searching for his replacement. And like I wrote, it would have been fine if that was a rebuild and they had time to be able to do that, but they didn't. They had to make the playoffs that year. And so to me, again, I do consider this when I think of AK's possible options. And I agree with you that would have been the best place to go. I agree with you that ownership should not have made that mandate. But given the fact that those things were true, I understand why it was difficult to pull the trigger. Would I have done it anyway? Yes. Would I have figured out other ways to come back from the defense? Patrick Williams at that time, I don't think had been ruled out for the year. Mm-hmm. There was still uncertainty, and I think they still felt like they could make the playoffs. Obviously, we disagreed with that. Obviously, we were right to disagree with that. Mm-hmm. But from their perspective at that time, and that's really what I was trying to accomplish by putting those declined trades in here. Really, what I am more concerned about is, like I said before, the upcoming extension and not trading Caruso and letting this turn into a DeMar DeRozan situation after letting that turn into a Vooch situation after that letting it turn into a Zach LaVine situation. Yes. Where now you've overpaid for all of your guys, and for what?
We are just about out of time. Real quick, shout out to our guy Derek Ann, who dropped us a $5 super chat. Thank you, Derek.
Thank you, Derek.
Saying the whole ass purpose to hiring a new front office was full autonomy. This is the antithesis of that, and also further compounds AK's mistakes and validates any quote-unquote progress. Okay, I would push back on that a little bit. I think the purpose of the new front office being full autonomy to run the basketball ops how they wanted to was what was sold publicly, oratorially, to the fans. I think the real whole ass purpose of getting rid of John and Gar and bringing a new front office was twofold. John Paxson, job for life if he wants one, came to Jerry and said, hey, I'm getting kind of tired of failing. And maybe I'm done failing at trying to run this team in a successful way. And Jerry looked around and said, well, you know what, John? Actually, now that you bring that up, maybe we can make a pivot here because the stadium is actually finally starting to empty out. And we are hosting All-Star Weekend for the first time in damn near 20 years, 30 years, and we are the laughingstock of the NBA.
This is true.
The stadium was finally emptying at the tail end of that 1920 season. And at the same time, the Bulls are embarrassed as the hosts team for All-Star Weekend. That and Paxson firing himself was the whole ass purpose of a new front office. It wasn't to actually give that new front office full autonomy to run the team, regardless of how the Reinsdorfs see the best ways fit to run their team. I think that's a bit misguided of a take. Appreciate everybody for chiming into the conversation today. We can continue this conversation in whatever facet that y'all want to tomorrow. Yelling! Or maybe let's all go take a break and drown each other in the river.
That's fair. Thank you, Go.
Great wonderful reporting from the Go. Go read it if you haven't yet. There's plenty more into that we didn't even get to in this conversation.
Yeah.
Will _Gottlieb. Read his stuff, allchgo.com. That column is up right now. Big Dave is at BAW, BAWL Sports. Our panel producer on the controls, Joyce Bathurst, at Joyce Bathurst. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls. Back tomorrow, same time, same place, 4 p.m. Central Time. Hit the like on your way out if you didn't do it yet. We really appreciate it. Make sure you also subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. See Red, be good. Sell the damn team.
Stop being dumb. Stop being dumb.
Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.